Hello, everyone. This is our first take, and welcome back to the Department Podcast. I'm Stephen Clark with Joe Paolantonio, Jesse Norman, and Stephen Bologna, and we're here to break down Week 10 of the NFL season. It was an interesting week. We saw some crazy game winners, a couple outstanding games, and a couple ones that didn't really sit too well with all of us. But overall, it was a pretty decent week. But fellas, before we get into all that football nonsense, how you doing?
Doing okay.
Hanging in there. Everyone's doing good.
Yeah, interesting week of football.
Yes.
To say the least.
Interesting indeed. Like I said, a couple of game winners. We saw a long field goal. We saw a Hail Mary. Then we saw some things we expected, but also a couple of shockingly close games. One coming out of Lambeau Field, which we'll talk about there too. But the bow, baby. But we're starting in order. So Joseph, you are first on the clock to talk about whatever game you want to talk about.
So I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and talk about the Miami Dolphins because there's something going on down there. This is the best we've seen Miami football in a very long time. Tua Tagovailoa has been a revelation, and I mean, this was a big statement game for them. This was really about where are the Dolphins right now. After beating the Rams, after beating the Cardinals, the Chargers, the record doesn't look good. This is no small task to take on LA and get the win here. The team looks absolutely better every time you see him. Xavier Howard, monster, absolute monster. There's no other way to say it. And Brian Flores is the coach of the year. Probably, unless a certain other team goes undefeated. But this really is just very exciting. I know it wasn't the sexiest matchup. I know it didn't have the flashy game-ending play like some of these did. But I just really want to talk about these Dolphins because I'm drinking it. I'm drinking the disgustingly colored Kool-Aid.
The disgusting water of Miami you're drinking. This is a statement win. This is a huge statement win for Miami. I said earlier in the other podcast that this would be a breakout game for Tua. Tua did okay, didn't stand out too much, but he still did throw 2 touchdowns and really, like, he looked like he really flowed in the system in this game. Like, he was meant to be there. Like, we saw Fitzpatrick do really good in the beginning of the season, and Tua kind of took the baton and even did better with it in a way. He kind of ran faster than Fitzpatrick did. And just the defense and special teams again for Miami, they're just insane. Like, the best special teams crew in the league. Literally, they're scoring, they're making plays, they're just doing everything. It's fun to see Miami do really well, and it's looking like they might win the division too. It's very close there between two teams, but it's looking like Miami has a shot, a real good shot to win the division.
Yeah, Miami would be my pick to win the division right now. And something interesting, since we have 2 rookie quarterbacks here and another rookie quarterback with Cincinnati, when was the last time you guys can remember 3 quarterbacks being taken, first 3 quarterbacks off the board, all 3 of them looking like they are actually NFL caliber quarterbacks? And not even just that, all of them have been very impressive. Herbert's been very impressive. I would say the most impressive so far, in my opinion. Burrow's looked every part of being a first overall pick, and Tua's been impressive in the wins that he's played in.
It would have been Eli, Phillip Rivers, and Big Ben. Really, the last.
That's the farthest I can think.
Me too.
And even then, like, as good as Ben was, he didn't look exactly fantastic.
I mean, none of them really looked this good this early.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
We heard it was a stacked quarterback class, but this has the potential to be an all-time quarterback class.
Definitely, especially if all of them. We still haven't seen like a lot of what they can do yet too, which is the scary part. Like, this is only 8, 9, 10 games in for a lot of these guys. Tua barely half of that right now. It's very, very frightening for the rest of the league to see these guys competing the way they are right now. It is.
Don't forget about Jay Glutton, too.
You're right.
He'll be the Kirk Cousins of the draft.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I think if Buffalo won yesterday, I kind of would have gave them the division. But now, I mean,
it's a toss up at least.
I would agree.
Well, Buffalo did keep it really close, of course, with Arizona.
Yeah.
Should have almost won, but
Yeah.
Miami didn't really keep. Miami kept it pretty lopsided against the Cardinals. You know?
that is true. That's also very true. So hey, maybe you do give the edge to Miami there, but Steve, any other thoughts with this one?
This front office just made smart moves in the offseason. I mean, you signed Byron Jones. I mean, highest paid, high paid corner, yes, but the production is there. You steal away Kyle Van Noy from your division rival, and he shows up. And this is a deep team. I mean, they have Salvon Ahmed. I mean, as their running back, going for 85 yards and a touchdown. They just released Jordan Howard today. Yeah. So you don't know where that comes from. Probably the coaching staff. I mean, this is a rare Belichick assistant that's going to work out.
I think it's coaching, and it's a good front office, and it's them hitting on their draft picks, and they're going to be getting more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a mix of all of it. And then when everything flows together, you see the results just like that. So good win for the Miami Dolphins. It's nice to see them back on the winning ways, how they used to be back in the day. So good for them. Jay Norms, we're going to you for the second pick. All you, buddy.
All right. Here we go. Raiders 37. Broncos 12. If you watched any of the betting video, I said Raiders over Broncos was my pick of the week. The Raiders were easily going to cover that spread. Everybody was treating this game like the Raiders were okay and the Broncos were sort of okay. No, the Raiders are a good team. The Broncos are a very bad team. If you need any more proof that Drew Lock is not the quarterback of the future, just watch this game. 3 interceptions, all of them bad.
Yeah.
He wasn't going up against the 86 Bears. He wasn't going up against a fantastic defense. Yeah, the Raiders are mid-level in defense at best.
I couldn't agree with you anymore with this and how hot garbage Drew Lock is. I still do. I still want to like Drew Lock. I love the personality. I love all the flashy things he brings to the field, but I don't like the gameplay. The gameplay is not there for him. And I guess Elway feels the same way as me. He likes the guy, Drew Lock, but maybe he likes the player too. I have no idea what Elway sees in Drew Lock. I have no idea.
Elway doesn't know how to get a quarterback that is not Peyton Manning. He has whiffed on every single other pick. Drew Lock, Paxton Lynch, signing Case Keenum, signing Joe Flacco. None of it has worked. And he still just keeps trying to do everything except for take a quarterback high in the draft. And I have no idea why. He was a number one pick. Brock Osweiler. He was a number one pick. Why is he so adamant about not taking a first-round quarterback? I don't understand it.
I think it's more of it's like more pride in himself, saying I can make a quarterback out of nothing. Look at me go. I'm one of the best front office guys in the league or something.
This is a team that's
look at your own division. Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes.
First-round quarterback.
Come on. It's not hard. It's not hard to see.
No. This is a team that's going to have to be calling up the Jets for Sam Darnold if they get first overall pick, or Washington for Dwayne Haskins. Anything, just to Drew Lock is just not it. Again, he is missing his number one receiver with Cortland Sutton. I give him that, but at the same time, he doesn't have bad receivers around him. No. On the flip side, though,
they spent this entire offseason building the offense around him.
Yeah. And this is a Raiders team that, just like the Dolphins, exceeding expectations. Everyone thought John Gruden was this jokester that couldn't get it done, and they make the hire of Mike Mayock as GM. But again, here they are, 6-3 with just exceeding expectations, and you got to look playoffs now for them.
Yeah, definitely a potential wild card spot. I don't know about winning. The winning division's going to be rough because that division is
wild card.
But definitely a wild card spot there. And another takeaway from this game that I love bringing up is how Josh Jacobs is their franchise running back and is top.
And Devontae Booker
that too.
Devontae Booker was a bust, was an absolute bust with Denver. literally looked like he shouldn't have been in the league. And then he did this against them.
Maybe it's just Denver in general. Like maybe Drew Lock would be better somewhere else too. Maybe it's just their coaching.
Denver, they follow that thing of the worst thing to ever happen to them was winning that Super Bowl. Because ever since then, they have shown absolutely no ability to rebuild a Super Bowl contender under any circumstances. None. They've shown no ability to hire a coaching staff that works, no ability to reload pieces that are aging, and they've shown no ability to actually fill out a roster. Elway loves to go with these flashy picks, these flashy things here and there every single offseason, and it never works for them.
Yeah, that's a really good take.
I mean, like this is a Raiders team that has cemented themselves. I mean, like they've beaten the Saints, they've beaten the Chiefs. I think they had another big win in there. And here they are. I mean, they're riding high. It looks like they're going to be a lock for the playoffs. Now, the only question is if they can beat Kansas City again next week, which they already have. It's not like this. It's not like this is a long shot. If they beat Kansas City again next week, there's a real conversation about the Raiders. I don't think they will. But for this team to be 6-3 and come out really out of the gate, because the first half was a little yikes for them. Drew Lock throws the goal line pick and reverses everything. But no, a lot of good things to see about the Raiders. They're putting up points again. Like this is old school.
This is
old school. Just win, baby.
Look at you, Al Davis over here. Man, good for the Raiders though. Good to see them win here. Broncos, you're still trash. Stevie B, your pick is up.
Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna go with Joe brought up Jake Luton and against traveling to Green Bay. Listen, me and Jesse, said on the betting podcast that watch for the Jaguars to keep it close. 4-20, the Packers do ultimately win, but is this? Do you look at this and be like, the Packers only winning by 4 against, a mediocre Jaguars team with a 6th-round quarterback rookie starting? I don't know, but I wouldn't take it too much into effect. I think the Packers defense the Packers offense just couldn't get it clicking in the first half. But, typical Aaron Rodgers just, found his stride and got the job done. Very helpful on the 80-yard touchdown to Valdes-Scantling. And, of course, he had Devontae Adams for that fourth quarter touchdown. This is a good win for the Packers, but maybe a sign of hope for the Jaguars. I don't know. Probably not, but,
If this showed, I tried to picture this game as if Minshew was playing instead of Luton, and I think Luton still would have performed better in this game. I think it's time for them to go away from Minshew. He's not the guy at all for them in this situation. Luton did good. Two good back-to-back weeks for him. I know, like you said, they came up short, but they were leading in parts of the games. Like the Packers just didn't have the lead the whole time, and the Jaguars kept it close. The Jaguars did have the lead several times during this football game, and their run game was on point. Their passing game was on point. Jaguars looked like a decent football team. I know, like you said also, Steve, the Packers defense, not good, but that their offense came to play, though. The Packers, they were out there all terms. They were doing really well. But
yeah, the Packers looked like they kind of wanted to sleepwalk through this game and then realized, oh wait, we kind of actually have to play this game to win.
True.
Because the Jaguars were still playing hard. That's my problem with this Packers team more than anything is like they don't feel like they want to play most weeks. Like most weeks they go out there and they're kind of like, let's just get this over with. Like if we don't need a statement win here, like whatever. And I think that kind of rides off of Aaron Rodgers, whatever mentality. We'll see how it plays into effect when they go up against big teams because teams in the past that have beaten them, historically like the Seahawks and the 49ers, they do it by punching them in the mouth, running the ball down their throats, getting out to a lead, and then making them fight back. And most of the time, the Packers have folded. So my same criticism of the Packers stays. They're not soft, but they just don't look like they want to play the same way that other teams do.
I mean, look, the Packers Steelers did, to say the least. They, came out against a weaker opposition and a little just uncharacteristic stuff. There was a big fumble in there, and Rodgers threw a pick, which these are things that don't happen very often. And I think we're gonna I would like to hold the same level of consistency with how we treated the Steelers after they lost to the Cowboys, because I didn't want to, throw anything out of the roof, out of the window after that. But I mean, it's a 4-point win against the Jaguars. You're not going to come away feeling happy. It was disgustingly ugly, but there's some things to like. Valdez-Scantling went absolutely insane. The Packers defense did come up big. I mean, they did the thing. They moved the ball pretty well. I mean,
yeah.
Look, the Jaguars are a young team and they're not very well coached.
No.
You're not gonna. It's not like they're gonna win.
But I will say the same thing said last week about the Steelers. There is a tad room for concern with the Packers. They're most likely going to win the division because that division is not good at all. But come playoff time, come the better teams, I don't see them going far at all if they're going to play the way they did this week, and especially if they played the way they did against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. So there is room for concern in Green Bay. The defense, more importantly than the offense. Offense is mainly fine, a couple hiccups here and there, but the defense had to get on their game, especially next week going to Indianapolis. So that should be a fun game, actually. A couple of old guys going at it. But that does it for that game, and it's my pick. And I'm going to go all the way tonight, Sunday night. The Ravens and the Patriots in a game that was played in a monsoon, basically, because the weather was just god awful. But when a game is god awful, you have to rely more on, I would say, running the ball and stuff. So that would favor Lamar, in my opinion, just because he is a more agile runner than Cam. He's younger. He's more athletic than Cam in a way. Cam is a big body and can still run the ball, but the Patriots still pulled this one off. It was just a shocker. I don't think anyone here really expected the Ravens to kind of play like this, because we saw what the Patriots did with the Jets the week before. The Patriots almost lost to the Jets, and this week they beat definite probably wild card winner in the Ravens. And the Ravens are a good football team. I always have my criticism for Lamar, but Lamar played a really, really good game. It just, the defense wasn't really doing anything. They have a really good defense. It just wasn't clicking on all cylinders last week. Cam didn't play like trash. He played a probably average to below average game, but he didn't play like trash. He didn't turn the ball over. So it worked, and New England got a win, and they're trying to keep their hopes alive in the division, but it's not going to happen there. But good for them.
Scary.
Yeah,
this is really scary.
This Baltimore team just doesn't feel the same. Like, just watching them, it's not just a thing of like, oh, they're coasting, guys. Like, don't worry, they're clearly gonna turn it on. Like, it doesn't. We've been saying that every week. There has been no turn on. There has been no flip the switch, even in moments. Like, this is a team that, while its record is good, it should be much better. We should feel a lot better about the Ravens than we actually do. I don't feel confident in the Ravens whatsoever to even make it past the divisional round.
I was going to say past the wild card round.
They're a 7 seed right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're. Yeah.
Let's not be characterizing them. That's what they are. So right now they're by the skin of their teeth making the playoffs in what now looks like an AFC that's become the stacked conference overnight, essentially, if you really look at it.
Yeah.
It's been a complete 180 with how
this loss. Yeah, this loss has entirely taken them out of the division too, I think. Like, you're at 6-3 now. Pittsburgh's at 9-0. Like, even if Pittsburgh sleepwalks through these last games and splits like 3-4, do we really think Baltimore's going to run the table?
I don't
think there's a chance.
There are 6-3 teams right now. That's insane. In AFC.
Absolutely, but
In the
there's
AFC,
one,
that's
but
insane
there's
to think
one
about.
9-0, and they're in the AFC North.
That is
and
true.
I don't think Baltimore's catching them.
But I'm just saying
they've already kind of sent themselves out on that.
I'm just saying there's a lot of 6-3 teams that can just go back and forth, and I feel like the Ravens might start to fall off from here. Yes, they have a very easy schedule, but this was the Patriots that almost lost to the Jets last
But they've
week.
had the easiest schedule of the whole year.
Yeah.
They were mapped out to have the easiest schedule for the entire year. And somehow they still look like the least impressive or second least impressive 6-3 team in the AFC.
And they were very dependent on always their defense too the last couple games. And when the defense doesn't show up like it did last night, you guys saw what happened.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar he forced him to throw 34 times. What confuses me is that this Baltimore team drafted J.K. Dobbins in the second round, and you give him 5 carries the entire night. You know, it's something that just confuses me. Where on the flip side, with Damian Harris, he gets 22 carries and goes for $120 and a touchdown. I just don't understand. This offense, I feel, is just literally Lamar or bust, nothing else. You have the offensive line too. It's just Lamar throws or Lamar runs. That's it.
And he doesn't have weapons. I know that he doesn't have any good receivers right now, but he has a great tight end in Mark
But they
Andrews.
knew that coming into the year. They didn't get any more receivers or anything. They didn't want to draft any receivers. Their offense at this point went from a power run last year to what it feels gimmicky to me. Like it feels like a fake offense. Like it's a ripoff. Like these trick plays and these Lamar runs. Like they're not based on X's and O's and actual plays. It's just Lamar. And that's not going to cut it when they go up against good teams. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So with this game though, what was the thing that's just staring right at you now is that the Patriots are not a pushover team, and the offensive line played absolutely the game of a lifetime. I mean, dominated the line of scrimmage on offense. New England was outstanding running the ball. This is just a style of play that worked well for them with the last quarterback, and it's working. Like they're getting back into the fold right now. It was a tremendous effort. I think it's now official. They've had this carousel of running backs for 6 years, probably. But Damian Harris is probably the number one guy now, if there was any debate about that before. Yeah. Look, Baltimore's not who they are, not who they should be. They're kind of banged up. It's a shame. Calais Campbell's supposed to be a difference maker there. Not even played. It's sad. It's a little sad to see how Baltimore's become, and it's not going to get any easier. They've got Tennessee on Sunday, so
that's
this is really troubling.
That should
it's
be
really
troubling for Baltimore. We saw how Tennessee.
Right.
We saw how Tennessee played.
We'll
get to that pretty soon, probably that game. But that does it for the first round. Joe, back to you for your second pick.
Well, I mean, while we're talking about 7 seeds, I feel like we'll go over to the NFC. We'll talk about, who was credited as number 1 in line for the Super Bowl, potentially the greatest team of all time. Not a hole on the roster, Seattle Seahawks, who are now a 3rd place team after losing to the Rams. As I said in the preview show, the Rams play the deep ball better than anyone in football. DK Metcalf was silent. Russell Wilson him and the MVP are social distancing right now. A little frightening. And this isn't even a game where the defense played as bad as they did, and they still couldn't get the win. They're in 3rd place.
They're in 3rd place. Yeah, they're tied for 3rd. The whole division is tied 1 through 3, but with the tiebreakers and the head-to-head wins, you're right. They are technically in 3rd place. And I, along with, I think, Jesse and Justin all thought this Seahawks team was going to win the division, but the way they played the last 2 weeks have shown me, like you said, Joe, there are a lot of holes on this team. And when
I feel like I sound like a broken record talking about this squad, but
yeah, but
how it
man,
is.
DK got locked down by Jalen. Jalen's just proven how good he is, and DK looked like what he was supposed to be. DK when he was drafted at the point, that's what we were expecting DK to be. But Russ, man, Russ did not look good again. Back-to-back weeks where Russ didn't look good, but it's very complicated, that division, because Arizona looks like they're heading in the right direction. The Rams look like they're heading in the right direction. The Niners almost won against the Saints, and then the Seahawks are just trailing down little by little. So it's very, very odd. It's still the most competitive division out of all of them, but it's very, very sad for the Seahawks.
And one thing about the Seahawks team, Clark, is that they made the big splash move this offseason of getting the best safety in the game, and his PFF grade this year is a 60, where the past years with the Jets it's been 90 plus.
Yeah, ever since they got him back, they've lost the back-to-back games. It's like
I don't know what's going on with him, but he's just not the same. This is a Rams team, like you said, Jalen Ramsey proving he's arguably the best in the game against DK. Tyler Lockett couldn't get anything going.
Nope.
This is an injury-riddled team. They never address the offensive line. It's just similar to the Ravens. It's Russ or bust. That's
very
it.
similar to the Ravens. I 100% agree with that analogy.
Yeah, and Russ hasn't been himself the past 2 weeks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He's turning the ball over. He's giving it up a lot. Defense, I mean, you can take a positive from it. They looked somewhat okay. Not the worst defense in football, but that's also because, they were going up against the Rams, who they're 6-3, and congrats to them, but they're a weaker 6-3 as well. But I mean, if Russ isn't playing mistake-free, just perfect football, like Joe said before, Seattle can't win, and that's like it's let Russ cook, not have Russ do absolutely everything, and if he messes up, we lose. Like, those are two very different things.
Yeah.
Like, putting the game in Russ's hands is not a bad thing, but giving him the entire game plan and saying our only hope is you, that's not gonna work either. But no, I have some serious concerns about this Seahawks team.
Me too.
And that being said, I think with the NFC looking not as dominant as it could be, I still think this team could easily sneak to a conference championship.
That's the scary part, just because of how weak everything else is. Like, we know how the NFC East is. The NFC North is basically just the Packers, and they've looked horrible, like against the Jaguars and a couple other games. And the NFC South, Brees might be out a couple of bit. Buccaneers are hot and cold, and then it's just very, very iffy, the NFC right now. Like we said earlier in the show. What is that?
This is a big if. I drew a big
that is a very big if.
Because it is a big if. If they lose on Thursday to Arizona, you are hitting the panic button in Seattle harder than you have ever hit a button before. You're essentially, it's going to be a tight path to the division.
I agree.
Yeah, they'd probably, at that point, unless Arizona bottomed out, Arizona's got the division.
Which I don't see.
Because they have 2 wins. They have 2 wins over Seattle.
If they win. It. But wow, that's crazy.
I mean, a defense like this on the road, who are you going to have to play? I mean, maybe Green Bay, maybe your own division mate Arizona. It's not. The path becomes.
It's rough.
The path becomes slippery to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and NFC is weak now to begin with, which is odd to say, but the NFC is weak. AFC is where it's at right now. But continuing with that one, that was Joe. So Jesse, your pick.
I mean, since we're talking about, the top of the NFC, I guess we should go with I would assume is the NFC favorites now in the New Orleans Saints.
Correct.
So Saints, 49ers, Saints look like a different team with Michael Thomas back. I'm gonna say it. I mean,
he
looks great.
His presence. He doesn't have to do anything. His presence on the field is just enough.
It just changes it. It just changes things. With Russell Wilson moving out of that MVP candidacy, I am strictly on the Alvin Kamara as the MVP. I give Kamara the MVP, give a quarterback the offensive player of the year, switch it for once.
Well, I'm still going to go with either. If Russ gets back on track, Russ, but Kyler Murray is still right there for that too. But the biggest takeaway from this game is the injury to Drew Brees, because Drew Brees is that team. He got his ribs cracked, a lung something happened to his lungs, lung collapsed. Hate to see it. But he's getting old. He can't take these hits like he used to 10 years ago. So it's sad to see, just because of how in good a position this team is right now. But it is bound to happen eventually.
They do have a good backup quarterback. They have a good backup. They have two good backup quarterbacks. Brees got hurt last year. Bridgewater came in. I mean, they're built for this. So I'm not panicking on that.
I
feel a lot better.
I don't trust Jameis in a full game. I don't trust Jameis Winston in a full game. I literally don't.
I mean,
maybe they'll split. Maybe him and Taysom will split carries. You know,
probably. Honestly,
one of them will play first half. No.
But they're what's up, Joe?
Try it out.
No, I like this. It's sad. I hope this isn't it for Drew Brees. Because it might be. I mean, this might be. We saw.
He might not be able to come back.
Yeah,
this might be the last time we see it, and we're going to appreciate it, because he's going to leave the game as the greatest quarterback of all time, and it's very sad to see him go. We're gonna miss it. But one thing.
I see a couple of us disagreeing with that one.
One thing that could happen.
It's not even the greatest regular season quarterback.
It's not even the greatest. No.
That's Peyton Manning.
It's possible. It's 1A, 1B to a lot of people.
Peyton, greatest regular season.
To many in the industry.
Best of all time.
Look, last year we saw Teddy Bridgewater come in and play himself up to this Carolina contract that he got.
Yes.
We're going to see Jameis come in and do the same thing. And I mean, it's gonna be nice, because I think Michael Thomas might be capable of doing a little bit more than we've seen him do with Brees. It's very, very possible these last few years. Maybe Michael Thomas can go deep. Who knows? It's just slant guy. And Demario Davis, monster.
Yeah,
this guy is such a monster. He was all over the field yesterday. Look, the 49ers are depleted. They have nothing going for them right now.
No.
It's what you got to do.
You don't have to.
They're 4-6.
No, you don't have to.
They're
don't
dead.
have to shun the Niners anymore like I used to. But
the Saints are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think the NFC right now, if you were to like power rank teams, like the top 3 teams, or at least the top 2, are definitively the AFC.
And there's a gap. There's a gap between the Saints and the Chiefs, or the Saints and the Steelers, of course.
Yeah.
But you know. Still,
and this is a Saints team. They also just picked up Quan Alexander via trade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Alvin Kamara has to be in the conversation for best running back in the game. Just the versatility alone, I mean, puts him, in my opinion, above Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley, and probably Christian McCaffrey. You know, McCaffrey healthy, he's pretty unstoppable. But again, I do question how the Saints team is going to run with Jameis. I mean, we know big 33 touchdowns last year to 30 interceptions, and he's kind of a meme. I mean, you all know his Eaton W's thing and
crab legs.
Yeah, exactly. Taysom Hill probably, I think, might take a big bulk of everything, but you know,
here's the thing that
the Saints should be fine.
You got to remember this.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston had eye surgery in the offseason.
He did?
We don't know
he did.
How much that's going to affect his play.
Okay, but listen, right? Rudy Gay, NBA player, so different sport, whatever, but he did the same thing years ago where it was, my eyes, my eyes are a little messed up. He got surgery. He did not become a better player whatsoever. Like, not at all. If anything, he kind of became a little bit worse. So we can't look to that and be like, well, maybe he'll be better. I don't think it was a problem of he couldn't see which was the receiver and which was the safety. I think he just kind of was like, whatever, I can make that throw.
Yeah,
Well, we
it's
haven't
hard.
seen much,
No,
but Steph Curry also had eye surgery, and we're still waiting on the returns from that.
Well, the three games that he did play was not good. So
Throw it.
as of right now, it's actually bad to get eye surgery.
yeah. So we'll see how that brews next week, because we can't really see how the new Jameis is until we actually see him in a full 4-quarter game, even though he probably won't play all 4 quarters because Taysom Hill. But we'll see how that goes next week. Steve, it's your pick.
All right. Let's do it. We're talking arguably top NFC teams. We'll go. I'll take my talents to Tampa, Joe. Tampa Bay defeating Carolina 46-23. Teddy Bridgewater did get hurt towards the end of this game, but we were expecting Carolina to maybe put up a little bit more of a fight. It was the complete opposite. Tom Brady shreds apart that defense. Guy feeds every receiver. Ronald Jones 98-yard touchdown, and this defense for Tampa Bay just looked fantastic. This was the exact kind of game you needed coming off the blowout loss to the Saints, and this puts them right back in the conversation as a top team in the NFC, probably maybe 3 or 4 in my opinion. But this is a huge win, and betting wise, the over, we hit the over,
Yeah.
as we predicted, and they covered the spread.
Killed it. Can you guys remind me what year it is?
2020.
2020. It feels like it's 2007, seeing Tom Brady did what he did on Sunday. It really did. My God, hitting almost 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, just killing the game again. Yes, he had a bad week. Brady does not have back-to-back bad weeks. Very similar to Aaron Rodgers in a way. Aaron Rodgers does not usually have bad back weeks. But, man, when the running game's going, when, like Steve said, you're spreading the ball from receiver to receiver, whether it's your top guy, Mike Evans, or it's Cameron Brate, your backup tight end, it doesn't matter. Or little Scotty Miller, for that matter. It doesn't matter who you're throwing the ball to when the greatest of all time is throwing it to you. And shout out to Ronald Jones. Scotty Miller, little Scotty Miller, man. He's doing his thing. And shout out to, like you said, Ronald Jones, man. 98-yard run that killed me in fantasy. But that was very, very fun to see. But on the flip side of the ball, the Panthers still they're a good team. It's just I don't know what's missing for them. I guess it's more pieces on defense, right? More pieces on defense. They have bits and pieces there, but it's not just like a collective unit like the Steelers. They have some things, but Bridgewater played okay. Not bad. We got to see PJ Walker a little bit, XFL legend. Good win for Bucks. Good win for the Bucks. Way to get back on track. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I know
I'm
we're
not going to read too much
Yeah.
into this
Yeah.
for the Bucks. I mean,
Well, you put up
it's hard
46.
to get it's hard to get the image of them just getting destroyed by the Saints out of my mind. I know
Oh,
it's a
that's
different
Ben
league,
Johnson last week.
2 times.
But,
Twice.
I
mean,
happened 2
They
times.
lost twice.
happened
Not
twice.
get destroyed twice. They lost twice.
No, it happened to the
Um,
best team in your division. You can't get stopped by twice. Just can't happen. You just can't be considered good at that point. Like,
Well, they're pretty good.
I'm still again, I'm iffy on the Bucks. I need to see them against good teams. While we've sang Carolina's praises, and
Yeah.
Carolina's probably the best bad team in the NFL. They're still a bad team. They still find a way to lose these games. The Bucks put on a show. That's fantastic. I've seen them do that before, and then I've seen them get destroyed when it actually mattered. So I have no idea how I feel about the Bucks, because this is my other thing with the Bucks too. When they got destroyed by the Saints, I'm not going to put it entirely on Tom and on the defense and everything. The coaching that night was just absolutely terrible.
Mhm.
What they did against the Panthers was what their offense is supposed to be. It's supposed to be establish the run first and then let Tom Brady start making throws. When they went up against the Saints, they were asking Brady to throw 20 yards down the field every single play. I have no idea why, but that's just so the inconsistency on the coaching end is what scares me more about the Bucks than anything. Brady's old. Ronald Jones, and Leonard Fournette both seem to get hurt a lot. Mike Evans is moody. Chris Godwin gets hurt a lot. Antonio Brown's on the team, but none of that scares me on the talent level. I don't think all of this fits with Brady and with Bruce Arians, because they run their offense so differently week to week. And if they go up against good teams and they just decide we're going to have Tom sling the ball, forget the run game, like they're done. They're dead in the water. If that's their approach come playoffs, it's over for them.
No, yeah, this is exactly what I was going to say. I mean, look, as nice to the Panthers as we are, probably nicer than most. It's the Panthers. I mean, they're a 3-7 football team. They have a terrible defense, and I mean, as quickly as we said, the same things I heard from you guys about Brady after the Raiders game, the same exact things, and it never came to fruition against the Saints, and that's what it matters. If they you take away that Packers game, it looks much worse for this Bucs team.
But then you still have this game too, the dominant win too. So you have 2 dominant wins in there too. Yes, they had lost big in 2 other games, but they also won big in 2 games too. So
the Bears game,
it evens out. It evens out.
So also wouldn't expect this coaching to be so inconsistent with a veteran like Arians there too.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I mean, Byron left, which the guy's.
I mean, that's always kind of been Arians' offense, though. Arians wants to air the ball out, but that's not what you're doing with 43-year-old Tom Brady. He's not airing the ball out and throwing it 25, 30, 40 yards down the field.
No, he's not. But good win for the Bucs. Let's move on to my pick now. And I'm very kind of shocked that this pick lasted all the way to the end of our second round. We got to talk about the Bills and the Cardinals. Wow, what a game, start to finish. Arizona looked like they were running away with it at one point. All of a sudden, here comes the Bills coming back and all that stuff. And the Bills, as we know, get a late touchdown to Stephon Diggs. And then we have the Hail Mary, man. What a grab. I don't think enough people are talking about the throw to begin with that play. Because I don't care about the rest of the stats right now. Josh Allen played okay. Kyler Murray played well. Running game was there for Kenyon Drake. Welcome back. Zach Moss finally getting some more touches. Devin Singletary was meh. But no one is talking about the throw. They're talking about the catch. Yes, it wasn't triple coverage. Phenomenal catch. But that throw had to be right there on target for Hopkins to be able to make that catch. And it was, and it was just beautiful to see. Cardinals they're just running right through this division now. If they beat the Seahawks on Thursday, they are almost locking up their division, which is crazy to think about because I had them at second, I think, but I still had them up there. So it's good. It's good to see the Cardinals win. It was a very, very, very fun game to watch.
Well, certain throws and certain plays, when you look back at a season and you're voting for an award like the most valuable player, will come to your mind and will come to your head. Kyler Murray, despite anything that happened to the first 3 quarters, first 59 minutes and 54 seconds, despite all of that, unbelievable Hail Mary. I mean, on the run, cross body toss, into triple coverage. He found D-Hop, and that's what Kyler Murray has done. This entire season, all he has done is just make plays and make plays and make plays and make plays. He is so key to what they're doing and how they're winning these games, and he has taken the biggest year 1 to year 2 leap in the NFL looking at it right here. I mean, obviously compared to his counterparts, but oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is, and it's also what it is another convincing win. It's another convincing win. This is a real team. This is a real quarterback, and Cliff Kingsbury is a real coach.
And it's funny. It's funny too because everyone was questioning, oh, well, you just drafted Josh Rosen. Why are you going to draft Kyler Murray? And this is a prime reason why. I mean, you see where they are now. What a move! Just making the trade for D-Hop. Clearly needed a wide receiver 1, and they go and get him. I mean, that catch is probably one of the best we're going to ever see. And never can't forget, it was against the highest paid corner, the Tre'Davious White too.
Mm-hmm. He kind of fell off this year in a way.
Yeah. It was just an incredible catch. You have to feel for the Bills though, because Josh Allen did lead the drive down the field to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
The Bills, I still think the Bills are a good team. I don't think they're gonna, obviously win it all, but they're gonna be a playoff team. Maybe win a game or two there. But this Cardinals team is dangerous, and they're gonna be pushing this NFC West for the future.
Yeah, you said dominating the Bills, and we have to bring up again how Bill O'Brien made this trade to send DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals. It just
looks worse and worse every week that goes by. It just looks worse. But I stay. I feel the same about both of these teams that I did before the game happened. The Bills can have some good drives here and there. They usually have to get pretty gimmicky for it. They have to get a lot of Josh Allen, a lot of, like he has a receiving touchdown. They gotta have these things where things kind of break their way. And Arizona, Arizona didn't play fantastic for the first, I would say, half or three quarters.
Not at all.
But they still got the win, and that's what good teams do.
Exactly.
Is even on their off days, they're able to go out there and get a win. And Arizona just continues to prove what I believe, a couple of us said before the season started, watch out for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is a dark horse MVP candidate. I know we all pretty much for the most part liked the Cardinals more than the mainstream media and everything, but they just keep pushing that narrative further and further of they get better every week in ways that, the defense improves or the offensive line plays better. There's just different things to take away each week that impress you with the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, 100%. No need to talk about that more. Great win for the Cardinals. Phenomenal play. We'll be seeing that for years to come from here on out. But Joe, it's your pick.
So we'll spare myself the wrongs and go with the rights where I was right. And Browns Texans, Browns 10, Texans 7,
Yeah.
and not only correct, but we were all ringing this bell. Is that Nick Chubb was coming back against a colossally bad run defense, and Houston had no chance. I know it was 10-7, and it's weird that the Browns have had multiple games that look like a score from 1954, but it's really nice that Chubb's back and this team's clicking, and then all of a sudden, like, the Browns aren't legitimate. I'm no way saying they are, but they have a nice record. Like, this is for Brown standards. This is a thing. It's definitely a thing. But yikes! Is Deshaun Watson, like, what's even the point?
This game was 3-0 for majority of the game, which is they played in the monsoon as well, just like the Patriots and the Ravens for a little bit. So I get you can give a little bit of slack there, both of these teams, but like you said, Joe, Deshaun's not there. I don't think his heart is in the game anymore just because of playing in Houston. Just the whole Bill O'Brien thing and trading away one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league, to depleted defense, to almost trading away Will Fuller and having him go to Green Bay, which didn't happen, thankfully, for their sake. But it's just very deflating.
Now Harden might get traded.
Justin James wants out too.
Deshaun Watson doesn't know how to feel.
Yeah.
No.
JJ Watt allegedly wants out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
If I'm Watson, I'm seriously considering maybe not signing there long term. Yes, the money's going to be there.
I've been saying this. If Deshaun Watson resigns, that is where we stop the sympathy for Deshaun Watson. That's where we cut it.
That's
because
on
he
him
chose
now.
To stay there.
Yeah.
So if he chooses to stay in Houston, where they have given him quite literally nothing, that is on him and solely him.
Yeah, I agree. And the Browns, yes, they won 10-7, but this game was 10-0 for a little bit in the fourth quarter. And basically the Texans got a garbage time touchdown almost, trying to make it close. But the Browns didn't look too impressive. They remind me of the Bears a lot. Maybe a tad better than the Bears, but very similar to how, like, their defenses are and how similar their quarterbacks are, honestly, because I'm not a fan of Baker Mayfield. He didn't play too hot either. But two very lackluster teams here.
And the NFL is not like the NBA. You can't sign a max contract and then request a trade the next year. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So if you're Watson, you resign, buckle up because you're there for minimum half that contract.
Yeah, no.
If you assume it's a 4 or 5 year deal, yeah.
Steve, you're 100% right there. And like Jesse said too, we don't feel bad for him anymore. Then
I think Houston needs to blow it up. Send the third Watt brother to Pittsburgh, probably.
Oh, don't do that.
Even at that point, you're realistically, like, I know people don't want to hear this, but JJ Watt's at most worth a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's what you're getting for JJ Watt at this point.
Yeah.
Especially on that contract.
On that contract.
Like they have assets. The only real asset that they have is Deshaun Watson.
Literally, that's all,
about it.
That's all they have. And JJ's in his 30s now too.
And Laramie Tunsil, but like
that's all they have in their O line, and that barely protects Deshaun as it is. So that's crazy as it is. That does it for that game. That was Joe's pick. Thank God he's not here. So he doesn't.
All 4 of our teams are left in the stack.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Well, someone's team's getting picked here. Jesse, go ahead.
All right, we gotta talk about it. Giants 27, Eagles 17.
He's not here.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles are not a good team, and they're still probably gonna win this division, and they're not good. Like they're not a good team. Washington's not a good team. We know what Dallas is. And now it's like, well, are the Giants like getting better? Is that defense somewhat capable?
I think so.
Or because like I watched most of this game because it was the main one we had on.
Yeah, because every single game was on Fox for the 1 o'clock games.
Yep.
So
yeah. So we got to see this lovely game. And my main takeaway, and I know Joe is going to agree with me here.
About what?
Do not let this game let you buy into Daniel Jones. Don't do it. Don't let it happen. Like I heard some Giants fans being like, "This is the game." Like we knew it. We knew Daniel Jones was going to get it together. Like this is putting it back on track. Like we don't need a quarterback. And the Eagles aren't a good team. Like. Nobody in this division is a good team, and this was not a good game to watch. By the way, one of those Eagles touchdowns that makes it look even closer than it was by Boston Scott, and it was basically on like a broken play. Like it wasn't strategic in any way. It wasn't the Eagles putting together something nice. It was Boston Scott being a very fast player. And that was it.
I still like any one of the 3 teams, Washington, the Eagles, or the Giants, to win a division.
Cowboys, the favorite, are now.
I like any one of those 3. It's not the Cowboys, I'll tell you that right now. But Washington held their own against Detroit. The Eagles still have they don't have a good record. They have a good record for their division, I guess. But I have no idea. Daniel Jones is going to prove to his team that he is the guy, but he isn't the guy. That's the problem. He's gonna run. He ran the ball very well. He has wheels. We saw that this season. I don't know. Its division's too confusing for me. It shouldn't be this confusing, but it's very confusing.
I'm starting to think the Giants come out of this. They're just they're hitting their stride at the right time. Daniel Jones isn't playing horrible. This defense it's stepping up when it has to. And they've already had to face the Steelers, so that's one guaranteed loss out of the way. I don't know, just something about this team hitting the right stride. Washington falling, they're done. The Eagles, they're frauds. Carson Wentz is not playing well. I think the Giants get this one done with 5 wins.
Yeah, 6. No, 5-6 wins might be what you need to win this division. I don't even know if you'll have to get to 7. I think 5 to 6 will do it.
I don't know, man. I mean,
Philly still has to play the Steelers, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's a loss.
Yeah, definitely.
No, they both play the Steelers.
Did the Eagles play the Steelers?
Yeah,
I think they might have.
I don't
Oh yeah,
remember.
that's when Claypool scored like 4 touchdowns. Yeah.
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 There you go.
So that should help.
Yeah, Fulgham had a great game. Look, the Giants have to make the decision right now, whether to tank or to actually go for the division. The
They're
long-term
going for
effects
the
of winning,
division.
the long-term effects of winning the division are disastrous for this franchise.
Mhm.
This is something that under no circumstances can happen. I'm just not going to allow it.
It will.
It probably. I mean, it looks like it really might. The Eagles have a really, really bad schedule.
Yeah.
I
They're
still
going
think
for the
they.
division, Joe.
They are.
I think the Eagles are going to win the division. I still think the Eagles can win the division.
I think the Eagles win the division. I don't think it really like whoever wins this. Like I can't believe they're going to get a home playoff game. But
happened last year too with Seattle and
but
Philadelphia.
it's even worse. But it's going to be even worse because it's
Yeah.
going to
I
be like
remember
a
last time the
6-win
Giants had a
team.
home playoff game. It's been
It's been a while.
such a long time. Like
in a nice
over 10
empty
years.
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah.
But I think Giants, they might pull it out. I really do. And that sucks in a way that they might pull it out.
So ugly.
Because it gets them out of that Herbert conversation, obviously. And it's starting to get them out of the Fields conversation too now. So it's just, and I think they're honestly going to stick with Daniel Jones just because of what he's been doing, which sucks for the Giants. It does. It really does.
Jones never looks bad against bad teams.
Bad teams.
I mean, but when you're playing against a good team and he fumbles twice and throws an interception, you know, like you're signing up for it. This is what you're getting yourselves into.
Yeah. All right, let's not hark on that too much more. Steve, your last pick is up right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
Who do I? You know what? Jesse avoided his team, so I'm going to avoid my team. I'm going to go with a lovely, crisp Thursday night game.
Mm-hmm.
A second half win for the Colts against the Titans, 34-17 was the final. I'll tell you what, man, this is a big win for your Colts there, Clark.
Yes, sir.
Maybe has a chance now to run away with the division. This is a Titans team that's been very up and down, honestly, since they had their little COVID outbreak there, unfortunately. But the Colts team, they're hitting their stride at the right time. Phillip Rivers, I don't believe in. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I seen a stat recently when I was watching the pregame, and Phillip Rivers QBR, because I was told by Clark and by Justin, and it was a fair judgment that if we have a really good offensive line and we give Phillip Rivers time, he can still throw the ball. When Phillip Rivers is not under pressure, he has the 4th lowest QBR in the league of like an 80.6. So
yeah,
it's bad. Like Phillip Rivers,
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to rely on him, but when everything else is really clicking well for this team, it gives us hope, a lot of hope, especially the run game with our 3rd string running back Naheem Hines doing what he does, usually 3rd string running back when Mac is healthy. But defense played good for the Colts. Can't complain about that. They basically almost locked down Derrick Henry for a lot of it. He didn't get in the end zone. He did have a lot of yards, but I want to talk more about the Titans in this one, honestly, just because I don't need to hark on this. I had time to let this process in my head since Thursday night, so I don't need to like expel all of my shill for it right now. So I like to talk about the Titans more and just how they fell off ever since the whole COVID thing. Like they had that one good game when they were back, and then all of a sudden they're just losing games left and right now. It doesn't look good for them. It really doesn't look good for them to win a division if they lost this big divisional game against the Colts. They see him again in 2 weeks. But that, like I said, Derrick Henry got a lot of yards, but kept him out of the end zone. Nice goal line stand there. The receivers looked horrible on the Titans. The defense looked obviously horrible. Their punter looked horrible. Tannehill looked okay. It looked decent enough. I don't know. I don't have faith in this Titans team. I don't. And that's not even being a bias. I just don't have faith in this Titans team.
Yeah, the offense really hit a skid. And I mean, they got the Ravens next week, which is a big game for both teams. So it's kind of become a coin flip game at this point. Look, the AFC South is anyone's ball game at this point between the 2 front runners, but I think it's pretty obvious that no team that wins the AFC South is going to win the Super Bowl for the evermost year.
Probably. That's a pretty
Yeah.
safe judgment to make. Yeah. But hey, division title is a division title. If we get there, I'll take it. If not, it happens. What are you going to do? Let's just pound through these last two games. Stevie B, you picked my team, so I'm going to pick your team. And we're going to Detroit for Detroit versus the Lions here in what I picked to be a Washington victory, which I almost kind of predicted. I was very close to predicting a Washington victory in this one, or might have went to overtime at that point. But Alex Smith played really, really well. He was moving all around the field. Matt Stafford played extremely well as well. Both quarterbacks had a very good game. It was just, it came down to that last kick, honestly. It really did. We saw the 59 or whatever yard bomb from Prater. Insane stuff.
59-yarder.
How much?
Prater, 59.
59, right? Yeah, 59.
Yeah, I have him on my fantasy team, or one of my fantasy
Yeah,
teams.
because I have him in our league. That helped.
Prater, a lot of people don't remember, Prater was the kicker for the Broncos when they were winning all those Tebow games. Yep. Those 55-yarders that needed to get hit for the Broncos to win, that was Prater. And then he got released off of a bad PED violation that wasn't true. And he's been with Detroit ever since, but he's been a top 5 kicker in the league that kind of nobody's talked about. So it's good for him to get his due, because he's been a fantastic kicker in the league for 10 years. Washington showed some fight here. Yeah. Alex Smith looked better than any quarterback I can remember in a Washington jersey since RG3,
since rookie RG3, maybe. Yeah.
I would say that. The defense looks, inspirited sometimes. They look okay sometimes. Sometimes they're, they're building. Washington's not supposed to be a good team, but they're playing hard. They're finding some pieces in the draft. Antonio Gibson looks good.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
J.D. McKissick also looks very good.
Detroit still doesn't know what to do with their running backs.
Yeah, Detroit.
Swift is good, though. Swift is really good.
Swift is really good. And it's tough when they say they want Adrian Peterson there in a mentor role, but then try to give him bulk of carries.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have him as a mentor, but it's another thing to continue to have to keep feeding him carries, taking away from your rookie. But, I mean, we're in the same spot with Detroit again. They've won a game. They scraped it out by the thin of their teeth, and it's all right. What is Detroit? Sometimes they're a team that you can just roll over, and other times they're a really hard team to beat if you're a good team. Yeah. That's what Detroit's been.
I have a couple of thoughts on this game. Number one, the game should have went to overtime. Potentially the weakest roughing the passer penalty against Chase Young there to push the lines up 15 yards.
Job
that hit a little. I don't know. And then Matt, I knew that kick was going in. The second Prater got into I knew it was money down the middle. Alex Smith, again, he played well. I can't complain that he had a completion to 8 different players, 390 yards, no touchdowns. Threw the ball 55 times, though. Again, and now Ron Rivera is saying that there's a chance Alex Smith might be the quarterback next year. I don't know how I feel about that, if he wants to even keep playing. But he's putting up the numbers. He's keeping them in the game. The offense looks good. I'm going to continue with my Terry McLaurin is the best receiver in the NFC East. I'm going to keep continuing with that. And I still have confidence in this Washington defense. Just they need a couple more pieces. But this is a game, if as a Washington fan, they're not getting number 1 overall. I want to win games because there's such a drop off between Trevor Lawrence and then everyone else. I want Washington to win, but I just can't get it done, of course.
No. I like that Terry McLaurin argument a lot. I think he's been phenomenal so far. Maybe you might be right with the best in the NFC East at this point. Because there's honestly not much competition except for
it's really Cooper.
It's Cooper, CD, Slayton. Maybe that's it. that's his competition. But no, he's up there with the best in that division for sure. I like McLaurin a lot. His speed is everything, and he's very, very good. Very good. All right. Any other thoughts on this game? Anyone? No. All right.
No, this really is just such a non-starter.
Yeah, Joe. Last game on the board. You don't have a choice, but intro us to this one.
It's easy. I think it's nice that the last 4 games it came down to our 4 teams.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Cool.
The Steelers beat the Bengals, which is what they were supposed to do.
Yep. Good win.
And that's it. Joe Burrow. He did exactly as you would expect a guy with an offensive line like that to do against a defense like that.
Yep.
And I mean, the Steelers are so much of the better team, and they just keep on rolling. That's all I got.
Yeah, good for them. 9-0, very impressive. Teams are even the bad teams now are gonna start playing them harder just to get that one loss in the right column. So it's good for the Steelers staying on top of their game and not letting up and continuing this dominant win against the Bengals. Like you said, Joe Burrow, we expected it. Happened. Big Ben, phenomenal game. Running game was not there for them too much, but it doesn't matter when Big Ben's slinging the ball like that. Good job, Steelers. 9-0, baby. 9-0.
Let me tell you what. I love this receiving core down there in Pittsburgh. I mean,
every year.
Claypool,
love it.
Deontay Washington. Then you get Ebron there at a tight end. Should have never left the Colts. You pair that with a dominant offensive line, and James Conner's a serviceable running back. There's some magic to be made here, and that shows why they're 9-0. On top of this, tremendous defense. This is a game, obviously, we all knew they were going to win, and they showed it to Joe Burrow here. He's been getting a lot of the hype recently. They had to shut down that hype, and that's exactly what they did. I will say this, though, on the Bengals side, I think they found their receiver of the future with T. Higgins, 7 for 115 and a touchdown. Again, Burrow, there's not really much to work with, but he's making the most of his opportunities, and no surprises on the Steelers.
Yeah, Burrow really needed a loss like this. He needed to feel what this felt like, to be able to
to get rolled.
Yeah, to be because Burrow is. Granted, he had 5 losses before this one, but before the NFL, the kid doesn't lose. He just doesn't lose. He needs to feel what it feels like to have a blowout win. The loss, my bad, not a win. Imagine a blowout loss. He needs to go into that practice in that film session and watch the mistakes that him and his team did, and to be able to correct those mistakes now. So coming out next week with the Bengals, I'm not sure who they're playing right now. I'm looking it up as I'm talking, but they need to come out against the football team. So it's going to be a bounce back game if they're up for it against the football team, who did play very well against Detroit. But great for the Steelers, honestly. I honestly think I don't think James Conner is the guy there. If they get better running back, man, this team is legit. I know they're unstoppable already, but they're unstoppable for a long time.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my designated time here to talk about somebody who, if there was not so many good quarterbacks in this draft, would be absolutely running away with Offensive Rookie of the Year, and that's Chase Claypool. I mean, this guy, this guy's phenomenal. This guy's special. 35 receptions on the year for 500 yards, 7 receiving touchdowns. Every 5 catches he gets a receiving touchdown. He also has 2 rushing touchdowns, 9 touchdowns on the year as a rookie already. He's fantastic. He is so good, and you have to worry about his physicality. And then you have Deontay Johnson on the under routes. And then you obviously have Juju, who can switch into slot and outside. And then you have a deep threat in James Washington. The offense, especially if Ben is on, if Ben is making the throws that he should be making. Yeah. Oh, they're a ridiculous offense. And then I think we already know how good the defense is.
Yeah. Like you said with Claypool, though.
Claypool's
his build is just very scary because he's tall.
He's 6'4", 238 with like a 6'7" wingspan.
He's huge. And
he's massive.
He's built too. It's not like he's one of these scrawny little guys too. Like he has muscle on his bones. Like he's a threat. He's a threat for years to come.
Yeah,
That's
I think Claypool is so good, and looking ahead to even next year, like I think he could very easily have like a DK Metcalf type impact on this team this year and next year.
got some breaking news here. Antonio Brown is facing discipline from the NFL. Per the Miami Herald, he was accused last month of destroying a surveillance camera at the gated community in Hollywood where he lives, and he threw his bicycle at a security guard shack. The Hollywood Police Department exceptionally cleared the case on November 5th. The incident occurred less than 2 weeks before he signed with the Buccaneers, and the NFL is aware.
It's Antonio Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah.
That's a story.
They don't need him anyways. He's just there to add another threat.
I'm really happy he's not on the Steelers anymore.
Yeah, I would be too if I were you, because he is very toxic. And on that note, that does it for this episode of the Department Podcast. So thank you guys all very much for listening to this episode. We hit our record in views on YouTube. We had over 100 on our MLB Hot Stove episode. So that was very, very, very cool to see. I love seeing that. So guys, keep watching. We do appreciate you guys listening to us. Make sure you guys comment on the video. Subscribe, of course, on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Let us know your favorite part of the show. We like interacting with you guys because it just adds more fun to it for us because we get to talk more about what we love to talk about. And you guys obviously probably have different opinions than us. So please reach out to us and talk your opinions to us too. Make sure you guys follow us on our social medias at Department_pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We have an NBA draft episode coming up / like all the new acquisitions that were made over the last couple of days. So that's coming really, really soon because the draft is tomorrow by the time this goes up. So stay tuned to that. There's going to be a Survivor Series predictions video coming up, an NFL predictions video coming up. So stay tuned to all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.